It's Audrey again, Floyd's wife. Andy, I thought I told you, I asked you to cut the shit out. It is so weird. You just keep posting pictures of you guys kissing. It's fucking weird. Like, please just stop. I mean, you know, next time you're in town, like, don't make it weird. Like, I mean, if you want to do something, the three of us, like, we can talk about that. But when you just post pictures of my husband and you're kissing him on stage, it's weird. Please stop.
I've been around a lot of women before, and I know what I need. When I make love, I need it to be like it was in the 70s. Whoa, big old hairy vagina, pubic hair in my teeth. Oh, big old hairy vagina. Well, I like some veggies with my meat.
Want to clap? Hold on. Like old time's sake.
Hell yeah, we're back, baby.
Like a old tricycle, like a riding a bike.
This feels like the old days where we were just sitting in some room on last fall, you know? We're just in some hotel gazing in some random city. Although it's not a random city today, is it?
Nope, it's your hometown.
Hell yeah.
Andy Frasco's World Saving Podcast. I'm Andy Frasco. How's our heads? How's our minds? How's my best friend, Nicholas?
Okay, things have been rough lately.
What?
My body's falling apart. My horn's broken.
You broke
It's
your
November,
horn.
my least favorite month of the year.
Why?
Oh, it's the worst month for gigs if you're a side band. You didn't know that?
Oh, really?
It's a thing, yeah. But I was prepared for that. It's
You saved
just
it.
boring, you know?
Damn, you had to buy new sacks too before this
Neck,
November.
neck, right
Oh
into
my-
the no gig November.
Uber better give you money for this neck
Lift?
injury.
Oh, I
Lift.
lawyered up for that.
Yeah.
I don't want to discuss it. You know, it's an ongoing case.
I get it, but I want you if you don't get gold chains, I want you blinged out after this lawsuit
I
is
spent
done.
it all. I just have another sax neck on the
Let's
chain.
go, Nick.
Another sax neck on the chain.
Make that money, Nick.
I have to get an injection in my lower back.
Why?
Steroid injection. I have a couple bulging discs and some stenosis.
How did it like all of a sudden get worse?
It didn't. They just didn't realize what my PT told me is that I was being too humble about my pain, and they thought I wasn't in bad as pain as I was, and it wasn't getting better. So they sent me in for an MRI finally, and then so it had been like this the whole time. I was just being a badass.
I'll clap for that.
she literally said, like, you're being too humble about your pain. We know you're in more pain than you're letting on. I was like, that's a pretty good metaphor for my entire life.
I just like when I think about that, I just think about the dollar signs. Just
I know. Oh, so many jokes, but it's just not good timing for those.
No.
You know what I mean?
Why'd you fly out here, Nick?
I wanted to hang out with my buddy in my hometown. I got a couple gigs. I'm hanging out with my Jewish friend, and then the other days I'm hanging out with my black friends, actually. I'm not kidding.
Let's go.
It's true. But yeah, I'm trying to get Suki to come out tonight, but my friend Laday's coming out. You remember her? She coming through.
You did miss me, huh? We
Yeah.
haven't talked that much this tour.
We do that.
We
We just did the whole Europe thing,
Yeah, we did.
and that was like a lot.
It was.
And then, you
Of
know,
course.
then you get back here and everything's fun and awesome, and you guys are selling tons of tickets, and Ernie's back, and sell out.
I
sell
love
out,
that.
sell
I
out,
love that
sell
you
out,
showed up
sell
when the
out,
shows
sell
were
out,
kinda shit.
Sell out, sell out, sell out, sell out.
A lot of shows, a lot of sold out
Well, I'm
shows.
happy for you, though.
Thanks, buddy.
Yes. Hey, I was thinking, what if I started dressing like Hillary Clinton?
Like what? Like a
Like full on blue
blazer?
pantsuit, all that. Like, here's the thing with that. I was thinking, how can I shake things up a little bit? And I just want to get off Judaism for a little bit. And here's the thing. No one can fuck with you. First of all, we kind of have the same body. Second of all,
Yeah. What, you and Hillary Clinton?
but what
Let's
if,
go.
no one can really fuck with you if you're wearing a Hillary Clinton pantsuit, because those things are $2,000. I looked it up.
Really?
She's flossing, bro.
Hold on. You could. She has her own like.
She has like a designer that makes her shit, dude. She's Hillary. I mean, you know, she's swagged out.
Damn. So you'd rock the whole blue blazer, the whole nine.
You'd be surprised how much devastating the island of Haiti pays.
Would you get the bobbit or like the haircut she has too?
Maybe a wig of that would be hilarious. I should be Hillary Clinton for Halloween next year.
Oh, I love it.
That's fun. This is a fun thought I had in the plane over that I want to get on the podcast for people. A lot of thoughts lately. I've been thinking a lot lately.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You've been eating the dialed-in gummies?
Oh, yeah, baby. I'm actually out right now because I ate them all.
I talked to Keith. We're doing a world-saving batch.
Yep.
We're doing dialed-in gummies. Drum roll, please. Andy Frasco's World Saving Podcast and Dialed In Gummies are going to be doing a collab. We're calling it the World Saving Batch.
Perfect.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be done in December, around Christmas time.
Not in time for your Ogden show?
We tried to get it in time for the
tough.
Ogden show,
That's
but
fine.
I'll be home for like 3 months, so I'm home
throw
for
'em
3
out.
months, bro.
Holy shit, we're going to get a lot done.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
We're changing the format, too. We're not doing as many interviews. We're going to do like, I don't want to talk about it now.
All right, well, yeah, let them.
We're going to be cooking, me and you, a lot, buddy.
Yeah, that's what people really want to hear anyway.
It's good.
Unless we
People
can get like, a major guest, you know what I mean? But that's enough bluegrass people, right? Who's on the show today, by the way?
Trampled by Turtles. Dave from Trampled by Turtles. You're such a fucking ass.
Someone gave me a shit about. I just only did that because I got a few messages this week like,
Saying
what's your
what?
problem with bluegrass? I'm like, they don't hire sax players. Second.
Trampled by Turtles on the show. Dave, he's a great guy. I had a great conversation with him. They actually showed up to my show in Burlington. They were in Burlington.
Is that where
when
they're
we
from?
Played. Yeah.
Oh.
And so, thanks for coming out, boys.
Oh, yeah. Did they sit in?
No, Mike Gordon came out to the show.
I saw that. He didn't sit in.
No, he didn't. I don't think he fucked with us. I thought, it's like,
That's not his, like,
yeah.
he's like a acerbic sort of nerdy kind of guy.
Yeah, he's pretty nerdy.
He's a quirky dude.
But he has been texting Little Stranger a lot,
Ooh.
which is making me a little gel.
Why?
A little jealous.
He likes white guy rapping reggae guys or something, but he doesn't like. You know what I mean?
Stop. You can't be rolling in here
That's what they are.
with heat.
They
You can't
rap?
They rap.
Are they white?
They're white.
Is it reggae influenced?
They don't like to say that.
Influenced? I didn't say it's reggae, but there's reggae in there.
So Mike Gordon?
I didn't say it's bad. I'm just describing what it is. But
does
why does
Mike
he like
Gordon
that?
rap?
No. Plays
I don't-
bass and
What's his side project sound like?
I've never seen it actually. It's like probably like a rock band or something.
He did have really fancy shoes on, and I got jealous. But
Dude, fish guys are fucking rich.
Oh yeah, they're loaded.
Check their network. It's got to be. I bet they're pushing 100 mil at this point.
100 mil. I could
Every
see
time
that.
they leave the house, it's fucking $2 million in ticket sales.
He said they always say like he's always just watching bands at Higher Ground.
Yeah, I think he might be invested in that venue in some level or something. Or
I don't know.
Page.
They asked me to get him on the guest list.
Oh, maybe not then. Mike Gordon needs to be on the guest list in Burlington, Vermont. He can't just walk in like Kanye. Like,
He probably could, but that's nice of him to say, hey,
no, that
can
is
he-
cool. Yeah.
And then what was nice of him, and he's like, hey, do you mind if Mike comes like an hour early so he could get to know everybody?
That's
was-
actually cool. as
That was
hell.
cool. I
Yeah.
thought he'd be way different. I thought it'd be more like rock starry. But like
No.
we had a stare down in the stairway, and we stared down. I'm like, yo, Mike, what's up? I'm Frasco. Oh, you're like, oh, what's up, man? What's up? And then just didn't talk to me after that.
No, he's I think he's a really quiet guy in general.
Yeah.
Honestly, don't know that much about him.
No, he's cool. I said, we learned Loving Cup if you want to cover Loving Cup. He's like, I'll watch the show and see how we do. And
There's no way he doesn't like your band because of the gimmicks, because Fish does all kinds of like. they
No,
jump
he
on
loved
shit.
it. He was
Yeah.
like, he was smiling.
was
I
gonna
saw
say.
that. But I would love for him to sit in, get the
He's so
you know.
good at bass.
the fish bump. But hey,
The fish bump. You're gonna have to settle for the Gerlach bump.
okay.
I wonder if he's like jealous of Trey being in Goose now.
Do you think there's vibe? Do you think there's like
No.
jealous vibes of that?
I don't think so at all. I think he's like, hell yeah, I get
Do
the
you think
weekend off and I
Mike-
still have $90 million. I don't have to do
Do
anything.
you think
this
Mike
weekend.
gets a little jelly that Trey like sells out these huge fucking like
No,
big arenas?
I don't think so.
Solo, and does he tour
because
with his
that's-
band?
He tours, but it's like they'll play like 1,000 cap rooms,
Yeah.
you know. But like the thing with that is like I don't think so, because that's part of the reason Fish is so successful too, is because of Trey being like that.
I
You
was
know what
thinking
mean?
about that because Sean's about to release. He's in a new band. Sean
Tongue Hammer.
Tongue Hammer.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, I like that name.
Jeff Frank is in it. I saw.
They got a single out. It came out Friday, so go check it out.
Oh,
But I was
hell
thinking
yeah.
about that. I'm like, am I jealous that Sean is in a different band?
Well, this one's it's new. There's always something with the
Yeah.
new pussy. You know what I mean? So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So shout out. Go listen to Tongue Hammer.
You get jealous. You got jealous that I did a Barstool pod last week.
I did. And
You're
I
like,
did.
you fucker. I was like, you know that this is good for our podcast. You know, that's like kind of the fucking point, right? To me, go on there and be the funniest guy and the most interesting, and then everybody, all their fans come over here. You know what I mean? I talked shit immediately when I went on.
Fall's over, dude. We're almost done with this tour. This tour's been amazing. I'm just so tired.
Seems like, from my point of view online, you guys were crushing it.
Oh,
money-wise.
it's destroying.
Okay.
Money-wise is good. We're selling the most merch we've ever sold.
Okay. That helps me determine my invoice for sitting in the night.
Hey, shut the... No. Hey, chill. I'm not... No, we're broke. We're broke,
Yeah.
But dialed in gummies. We've been eating them on the road. I'm back in America, so it's been nice to eat the dialed in gummies. Go grab... If you're in the Colorado area, go grab your some. Also, if you're planning on going to the Ogden show of ours...
December 2nd,
and you want to try to win tickets...
What?
We have this thing where I have a flat, like those athletes have those life-size posters.
Oh, the what are those called again? They go right on the wall.
Flatheads?
Yeah, fatheads.
Fatheads. Well, if you take a picture, it says Andy Frasco smokes mids with me.
Where is it?
In Native Roots.
The one downtown?
The one near my house.
Okay.
On 6.
Damn, that's funny.
Take a picture with it. Go to Native Roots. Take a picture with it, and you will get in the auction or the what is it? Auction? They're just gonna drawing
raffle
to get you free tickets backstage, and you could smoke some mids.
Backstage?
With me. Yeah. To smoke one joint. You're not hanging out there all day, okay?
Yeah,
people?
I'll stand there and I'll watch you smoke it.
You're not gonna hang out there all day. We're not. We can't have that happen. But
I'll stand there, watch you guys smoke it. As soon as it's out, I'll escort them upstairs. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the show, man.
So grab a ticket to the Ogden. I mean, we're at like 1,000, 1,100 tickets.
Oh, that's pretty much a sell out there.
1,500. So we need to.
Yeah, but 1,500 in that room is a shit show. Also, Ogden walks up harder than any venue in Denver.
Sick.
So get your things pre-sale, or you will probably not be able to get in.
Yeah, the tour's been crushing. But speaking of that, you could buy your dialed in gummies at Native Roots. You could buy your dialed in gummies if they're not sold out because they are that good.
Yeah, they are that good.
And they have homogenized.
Yeah, they're homogenized. What else? Homogenized. What does that mean again, Andy?
It means that there's a perfect amount in every little cube.
Even amount.
I told you about this.
Spread evenly.
I told you about the Russian roulette we did.
Dude, I can't believe you guys did that.
Oh my God. We did this Russian roulette on our day off with Little Stranger where they had 5 gummies and they all looked the same, but one of them is a 50.
These weren't dialed in, right?
They weren't.
No.
But shout out to Edibles.
Just because I don't want people to think they can buy a 50 milligram dialed in.
So there's 4 10s and 1 60.
It sounds like a car audio system.
So we all took it, and of course I got the 60. And oh my God, I felt like my soul was lifting out of my body.
Bro, it's amazing, right? Did you have any panic attacks?
I didn't, but I was like really close, and the guy's like, "Bro, you look green."
Green?
I was looking green, like I was like scared that I was gonna like.
Did you sleep like a baby?
Slept for 15 hours. So shout out to that. Oh my God.
Damn,
but I hate that feeling because the next day in Cincinnati, I was fucking high the whole day, and I was just like sleepy, and I felt like I gave him like a really limp dick show.
You did?
Where felt like I was not there, Cincinnati. But we took him in Pittsburgh.
Okay, on your day off.
Yeah, so that was tight.
Wow. I saw you sold out Pittsburgh.
I sold out Pittsburgh.
Spirit Hall, same place we played last year.
Spirit Hall. We got to find a bigger event. A lot of these venues, like we sold out Rochester. That was 1,000 cap.
That's not where we played last time, is it?
No, we played a different room in Rochester, but this was bigger.
Did you do Buffalo?
No, but we're doing New Year's Eve.
That's already announced.
You know who I met in Buffalo and Rochester? You know the famous guy who had the perfect. He jumped through the table, but it was just like perfectly.
I remember
clean.
I put that on our podcast. Remember?
I met Pat. That's his name. He showed up to our show.
How did you find out it was him? Like
Little Strangers are their homies.
What?
Yes.
Remember he got perfectly. Remember I brought that video in.
Yeah.
He got perfectly horizontal. Speaking of Buffalo, did you see that they're playing the Browns on Sunday? Did you see the weather report?
3 inches of snow or 3 feet
to 6 feet maybe
in Buffalo.
And they're gonna play if that happens.
I'm so excited we're done with this East Coast tour.
I hope they get 6 feet of snow because Nick Chubb, the Browns running back, is 5'11".
Really?
Running through just like Keno back in the day going through a snowplow.
Fucking amazing.
Deep Eddy?
You've been drinking, I hear.
I like to drink. I've been drinking some Deep Eddy lately, actually.
Well, tell me about
That's
it.
so funny. You told me that they're jumping on board, huh?
Yeah, because I'm a whiskey guy.
I know, but what's weird is it already is my favorite vodka to drink on earth.
Really? So tell me about it. What's so good about why I should drink vodka?
Now, you should never drink flavored vodka outside of Deep Eddy, in my opinion. Okay. And this is all stuff, I barely looked at that, okay? This is all an opinion I've held since Jazz Night on Tuesdays in Indy. Okay. Because the flavoring in Deep Eddy, it's more like, when you get infused water from somewhere, there's like a couple cucumbers in the bottom of it or some strawberries. It's like that's how they do it. So they don't put this sugary mix. That's
why I don't get hangovers when I drink that stuff.
That's exactly what I was going to say next. Because what you really get not completely, a big reason you get hungover is because of the sugar in alcohol.
Yes.
That's also why you wake up 3 hours after you've been asleep when you've been drinking, because the sugar gets processed finally and it wakes you up.
Wow, I didn't think about that.
Whiskey has a lot of sugar in it, actually.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
Yeah.
When I really have a really big whiskey night, I wake up hella.
Yeah, like in the middle of your sleep, and you sometimes can't get back to sleep, right?
Yeah, it's sugary.
That's the sugar coming back. It's finally been, your body finally processed it. Why do I know this? I don't know. Second of all,
do you have diabetes?
No, it tastes better than
what
other flavored vodkas because it's not so aggressive. It's like cane sugar, it's all natural stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, this is exciting. Maybe
here's a Deep Eddy drink I recommend. Get the Deep Eddy lemon flavor. They also have unflavored vodka too, if you want that. Get the lemon flavor. Get yourself a little glass with some ice in it. Just pour some lemon Deep Eddy and some water. That's it. Not sparkling water. Just a little water, just to spread it out a little more. And it's
so dilute the lemon a little bit.
Just to dilute the vodka a little. You don't want to just drink straight vodka. You know what I mean? But
wow.
That's my favorite Deep Eddy drink right there. They call it the Nick Gerlach at the Mousetrap.
How about next week when I get home, we'll have a little tasting test.
Okay.
Hopefully they're still they're putting their feet in wet.
They're based in Austin,
Frasco business. They want to know what's up.
People want on board this money train, baby.
Let's go.
The money train back to LA.
Let's go.
Oh yeah. No, I'm so happy that they're getting involved because I actually genuinely like the product.
Well, you got to kind of convert me because Jameson hasn't done shit for us.
I think that you should just take Jameson off the stage and put Deep Eddy up there. What other reason do you need? Jameson's played out.
I think vodka is probably better for you.
Probably has less carbs and sugar and, plus the Russians
I just got to get through this tour.
You have a couple more days?
I got 2 more days and then we got 2 more weeks.
Thanksgiving break. Are you going home for Thanksgiving?
I'm going home for a week.
And see Mama?
I'm seeing Mama. And then I'm taking...
Mommy.
Jill wants to go to Universal Studios because she likes Harry Potter. What's the fascination with fucking Harry Potter?
I don't know. I'm 40. Like,
to
be fair, they're less weird than Disney adults. At least she didn't want to go to Disneyland and get the Mickey Mouse ears and fucking...
Like Andy Ava loves Disneyland.
Really?
Dreams, chase your dreams.
Are you going to do Middle Class Mogul?
For the album name?
That's pretty good.
I like it.
You are a Middle Class Mogul.
Yeah, we're going to see who signs us.
Yeah, you're still doing that, huh?
I fucking hate that dance, dude. Yeah. I hate the record label dance, like just waiting for them to
especially when like they just
maybe we'll come to watch you play live. I'm like, maybe you should just fucking sign us already and stop fucking dancing around it.
Shut up. You went to
I know you're cool. I know you're acting cool, but fucking sign us.
Who's selling records,
But I got a fan base.
You do have a fan base.
One record label declined us. They're like,
why?
They came to our show. You're like, yeah, your music, I love your music, but your show is a little too crazy.
I mean, at least they were honest and came.
Yeah.
So
shout out for saying no and being honest.
But at least they actually came.
The other record labels, you know who you are. Put your money where your mouth is. I'm a worker. I'm a hard worker.
Yeah.
All right. We're done.
Yeah.
You got any motivation for the people this week?
It's Thanksgiving. I don't think you need to be motivated. Go get something turkey and just eat some stuffing and, try not to get in a fight with your uncle.
Oh, yeah. So next week we'll just do me and you.
Here's my motivation.
Okay, here's
my motivation.
What do you got?
I want you to pick the person at Thanksgiving dinner that you disagree with most politically and then just rile them up until they leave. I want you to get in on get those boomers out of there. You know what I mean? Rile up your boomer relatives for Thanksgiving.
Rile them up.
If you need some talking points, DM me on Instagram. I'll give you some stuff to bring up.
Let them know about that big old red wave that happened.
Yeah. Ooh, more like the red stream.
Yeah. Oh, God. All right. Have a great day.
Talk.
Enjoy Dave. I'll introduce him after this tail end. But thanks for being here, buddy. I'm a little tired.
Am I sitting in tonight?
Yeah, please.
You got that kind of money or?
All right, we're done. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Next up on the interview hour, we have Dave Simonett. I think that's how you say his last name. From Trampled by Turtles. Yes, I had a great conversation with him. I really do love his band because it really reminds me of, like, he's got metal and like emo and pop punk influences in his music, but they're like a folk bluegrass band. They got a new album called Red Tail. It was produced by Jeff Tweedy from Wilco, which is exciting. And we talked a little bit about him recording with Tweedy and stuff. Hey, Chris, play a little Tramp by Turtles new record while I'm talking about him. Love the dude. I believe he's from Minnesota, if I believe. I did this interview before I went on tour, but I really enjoyed talking to him. We talked about his, they broke up. They had a hiatus. We got down to the nitty gritty about that and how it feels to be back on the road and getting it going. So, ladies and gentlemen, next up on the interview hour, please welcome Dave from Trampled by Turtles. What's up, Dave?
Andy, how you doing?
What's going on? How's life?
Life is good, man. I'm kind of in between shows here at home and getting ready to put out a new record, which I'm pretty excited about. So lots of fun stuff happening.
After 20 years of being in a band, do you still like those guys?
Yes.
Let's get to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. I think about how amazing that is often, but we all do still very much love each other. And I don't think we'd still be doing it with each other if we didn't. And I couldn't imagine being in that kind of situation, really.
Yeah. How important is like being in a band for that long? You got to like each other. Like, it's just too hard of a life to not like each other, right?
And it's a lot. It's 6 distinct personalities, and it's like any kind of family situation.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be disagreements, and you kind of have to learn people's boundaries and what kind of space they need, and all that stuff that you need in any relationship, really. But deep down, underneath it all, is I feel like there's a love and respect there that hasn't changed in like you said, 20 years.
Yeah. Any years where you thought like, oh, this thing's gonna break up?
Oh yeah, I quit the band once in 2015, I think it was, so 7 years ago. It just burnt out, super burnt out on touring too much. I'm sure you've probably been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully everybody, we took a little break, and then we all kind of reconvened and patched that up. But other than that, I don't really think so. I think like we learned kind of then, or at least I learned how to manage that balance a little bit better between touring and home and, all of that.
And let's talk about 2015. What was going on through your head? Like, what were you, let's talk about that. What made you burnt out from the road?
Sure. Well, it was a lot going on for me then. I was going through a divorce, and the band was touring like, we were on the road I don't remember how many shows we did those years, but a lot, like more than I was really comfortable with anyway, but it was what we did, and we'd done it for a long time. And so all of that kind of collided for me at the same time when musically I was burnt out with the band, and mentally I was already burnt out at home, and then just on the road nonstop. So it kind of came to a head, and I learned a lot, like I said, about that balance, but also about how to deal with that kind of stuff when that comes up. And my tendency, which these guys know about me, is to just kind of explode instead of, hey guys, how about we take a little break?
I'm like
pull
that
back
too.
A little bit, and see if we like each other. So it's like, no, I'm quitting everything. Everyone's fired.
Are you?
So, but honestly, after that break, we came back, and it's been more fun since then than it ever was before.
So how long did it take? How long was the break?
About a year and a half.
And then who's the one who called you that said, hey, we should get this back together? Or did you call them? What was that like?
I did. Yeah, I came crawling back.
Hell
yeah. I made another record on my own and had a great time with that. And I really miss like all those things I took for granted, with the playing music with those guys. Like, you played with the same crew of dudes for a while.
Yeah, 15 years, yeah.
Yeah, so you know how it is. Like, you play with those guys, and it's great to play music with other people. I feel like it's really important to do that sometimes, but there's that connection that you have that just cannot be replicated, I don't think. And at least I couldn't. It was something, a connection that I really missed, like being able to be in a room making a record with those guys or being on stage with them. It ended up being a pretty big hole in my creative life and just my personal life, dude.
Yeah, and we realize we forget what makes us happy, you know? When we're in our head and we're in our emotions, we're like, fuck it up, I'm blowing this whole fucking thing up. And then you're like, oh, what did I blow up? That's the thing. That was the only thing that made me, It's like, so tell me about like how you're like, you know, we all got this ego inside of us. Like, how hard was it to like crawl back to the band after like making this huge big blow up?
Yeah, I mean, they took it pretty easy on me.
Yeah,
you know, I think everybody. It turned out, you know, I don't think everybody felt the same, but I'd say a lot of us ended up kind of treasuring that break and getting some space, and we got some more time at home with families and all of that stuff. And even though it maybe was not the way that they would have chosen it, I think it was healthy for us to do. And so when I was like, hey, what do you guys think about trying to make a record or something? I didn't want to go back on the road. I wanted to make an album and see if we still loved it, you know?
Yeah.
So we could kind of start privately a little bit. And everybody was into it right away. I don't know the conversations that went on between them.
The side texts.
In that time.
Fuck this guy.
But to me, it was like, yeah, we're still here, you know? And I'm eternally thankful to those guys for their understanding, you know? But that's part of being in a relationship, dude.
Yeah. And I'm realizing that having my own one. And what was the studio like, or the songwriting process like in those first couple weeks getting back into it? Like you walking into the room with each other. What was that like? Did it take a second?
It really didn't. And I was pleasantly not surprised, but happy about that. I had a few songs written. And we went up to our banjo player, Dave. His family has like a cabin in northern Minnesota on a lake. And so we all went out there just to hang out. We hadn't really hung out the whole time either. And so just to hang out for a few days and play a few of the new songs through. And during that time, actually, it was great. It was like this, it was kind of like a team building, you know, like retreat. And it was really fun to hang out. We had a blast, and it was just us. And I think the second day we were there, Tom Petty passed away, and we were all kind of following that. He's one of my songwriting heroes, rock and roll heroes, all these things, and it was a little bit emotional because all of us had really grown up listening to that music,
right?
And we started playing around with some of his songs, and those are just the things I remember from that weekend. But when we came out of there, we decided we wanted to do it, and we booked the studio and made our record Life is Good on the Open Road. Came out in 2018.
What was the song that got everyone together on that record, you think?
I think it's the title track, Life is Good on the Open Road. I was talking to the guys about it, and I felt like it was maybe a little ironic because I had just gotten so sick of touring.
Yeah.
The kind of impetus of a lot of that album was to trying to think about that lifestyle in a positive light and realize all of the good things that come from it for me, like all the fun stuff we get to do because we don't have to have normal jobs, you know what I mean? And all the traveling, which I love, and just being out there playing music for a living. It's kind of like winning the lottery, you know?
Right.
And to try to remember that and not be such a spoiled little brat and
I feel it,
and
bro.
want everything to go my way all the time.
Yeah.
You know? So it was a lot of like reflection and trying to celebrate what we're doing and the lifestyle which we live that so many people wish they had the opportunity to do, etc. You know?
Why is it so easy for us to think about the one or two bad things in something versus all the 98% of good things that we fucking... I know, man. Have you been like that since you were a kid?
You know?
Have you been like that your whole life? Think about bad shit before the good shit?
Yeah, I think so, but I think I'm generally pretty good at rolling with it, and I don't need to be pleased all the time or anything like that.
No,
but when it comes to music, I feel like it's always been in a different category for me, you know, like creation, songwriting, music, that I feel like I've always had unrealistic maybe expectations about. And you know, I just want a lot of freedom with it, and that's great. And I think all of us should have that, you know, and we do. I mean, we are our own record label. We tour where we want, when we want. We put records out whenever we want. And I mean, as far as being in a band, I probably have as much freedom as possible. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I don't know why though, to answer your question, I have no idea why that stuff sticks out so much. Cause you know, but sometimes it just takes a little bit of chaos to remind you that, and, you know, to appreciate what you got.
How important is freedom to you?
Oh, it's paramount to me, man, especially, in creating, you know, music, art, whatever. I feel like that's the main ingredient. And I feel like you know, it's maybe more of like even I need limitations too. I will say that. Like I work the best with some creative limitations, but ironically, maybe I will fight them to the death. But you know, I'm writing, I want to make an album. When I finally get the recording studio on the calendar, that's when I really start to work really well. And so for me, I need something, you know, an unobstructed landscape is a hard place for me to create, even though in my mind it's like my favorite place to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like we need this idea of freedom, but we also need a car that we drive to the freedom, you know?
Yeah, you got that right. What's some kind of walls in there?
What's your process like when you make records with the band? Do you guys go in there having the songs written already, or do you like going in there kind of with half ideas?
I usually meet the guys there with most of it written.
Cool.
But you know, basic chord structure, melody, lyrics. And then we all kind of arrange it together.
Cool.
There's been a couple records where I've written some in the studio, but generally try to get most of it done before I get there. I do like to write there, but I don't like to count on it.
Yeah.
But this last record, you know, Jeff Tweedy produced our new record. And so that process varied a little bit in that I had most of the songs, but I thought we're done. But when we got there, Jeff really helped us kind of dissect all of them and rearrange a lot of stuff and move parts around and change chords and change lyrics. And that was kind of the first experience I've had doing it that way, which I really love.
Yeah, I mean, Tweedy is my guy. I fuck with Tweedy heavy, and how he, you know, from how the song is when he writes it to how it ends up being, it's like it's gotta like take your brain into a whole mind fuck, because like you think the song's gonna sound one way, then Tweedy's like, actually, we're gonna change this up and do this. What was the process like with Tweedy? Give me some insight.
Yeah, it was actually, you kind of nailed it. A lot of it was like that. It was like, you know, here we got this song that there were a couple of songs on this batch that we've actually rehearsed and played live a couple of times. So we started there, and we're like, this thing's, you know, we're pretty much happy with where this is at. And it was a lot of that. Like, actually, you know, I'm hearing this. You know, he's got a good point of view as a listener. It's like, instead of the second half of a verse following the same chord progression, let's just turn it backwards and see how that sounds. And so a lot of like trying little bits of stuff like that, that I think made each song, to me anyway, so much more interesting than when I had him at the start. It was really cool to see that process, like his process like that. Cause I feel like, and I talked to him about it, but he does that with his own stuff too. It really inspired me to take longer looks, excuse me, at the arrangement that I do on my own. You know what I mean? Cause it's like, he's like, the song is way out here. You know, you got this little box of it, but we could go all of these different places and check it out. And we got the time, so let's check it out, you know?
How many weeks?
I like that. I really like that method.
Yeah. How many weeks were you in there with him?
Just one. I think we tracked for 5 days. Was it? I think it was. We did it all live though.
Yeah.
We sat in a circle. I sang everything live. We overdubbed a couple harmony vocals and a couple string parts, and other than that, it was just pretty straight up.
Do you normally do it like that?
While we went.
Do you normally do that like that?
Most of the time. Yeah, we have done it other ways in different records. We've tried all sorts of different methods, but this keeps coming back to be our favorite. Just sitting next to each other and playing and trying to let the, the arrangement for this record. I feel like that's what makes it feel different for me than, say, our last album where we did a similar method of recording. We sat and did most of it live, but this one we had Jeff in there making the songs a bit more musically interesting, you know.
That's so crazy that it was that quick. And he's like, all right, we're dissecting this song, but we have 2 hours to dissect. Like, you guys are probably blowing through songs.
It didn't feel rushed either. It just felt like, I mean, we actually had 7 days booked there, and we got done, and I got home early, got done at 5, and they started mixing, and I took off, you know. So it was, it felt right. It felt really casual and easy. We didn't feel like we had left anything on the table. We kind of went through all the songs, and it works. It's one of those times where recording live really worked, and the parts that people came up with sounded really cool, and they got them, you know. And there wasn't a lot of takes on any song or anything like that, so it made things go really fast. Yeah, I didn't have to do vocals for 2 days or whatever, you know. It's just played the songs like we were sitting in the living room.
So dope, dude. So give me some inside scoop on Tweedy. Like, he's got any ticks? Got any weird ticks that that you saw, or like, the guy's a genius, man.
No, I was looking for him. I
we
couldn't
all
find
are.
anything. Yeah, the dude. I mean, I've loved his work for a really long time, and he's been one of my songwriting, you know, people I really look up to in songwriting since I was a teenager, really.
Right.
And I got to kind of see firsthand that guy's work ethic and how he goes about his day. And I mean, when he's home off the road, he's like a 9 to 5 in the studio every day. And if he's producing somebody, or if he's writing, or he keeps that day. He's like, he goes to the office every day and works, right, you know. But he's going to the loft and writing music or helping other people write music or whatever. But he's always making music, and I'm not like that generally. Yeah. And to me, it was like, I want to do that more. You know, yeah. I want to go to the clubhouse and write every day. And it was so cool to see that work and to see his life's work kind of make that happen for him. And also, the dude's got like the coolest guitar collection I've ever seen in my life. It's really fun too.
What do you think's stopping you from doing that every day?
It's just my own brain. I think I have, you know, right now, for instance, it's fall, right? And I go like bird hunting and trout fishing, and I have other stuff like that I really love to do, which is important for myself, and that's great. I wouldn't give that stuff up. Yeah. You know, my kids are still pretty young. Kids are like out of the house. It's a different time of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's okay. I just for me, where I can do the kind of thing realistically is fit it in where I can and not skip it. You know, right. That's where sometimes I get guilty of. It's like, oh shit, it's been a week since I've sat down with the guitar. You know, time flies. And, I felt like for writing, the more I do it, the better I am at it. And that sounds dumb to say or simple, but if I don't write for a while, it feels like it's really hard to start back up again.
Well, it's muscle memory. You know, we gotta like, you Absolutely. Know, it's like any basketball. I'm into basketball. Watching these guys shoot I'll watch a dude shoot 3 throws for 3 hours. Just like, it's just focus, right. And it's like, just
it is
fine tuning and cutting and sharpening your tools. Like, what do you like better? Like figuring out a live show or figuring out a record?
A record. Yeah. For me. Yeah. I love playing live, man, but sometimes I don't. And sometimes it's I don't think the stage is, I mean, I have a real love-hate relationship with all of that. Right. I like when we're going, I love it. The stage has never been like my natural environment. Yeah. And I think that if the music business or our music business were maybe in a different place and I had the choice, I would probably spend much more time in the studio than on stage. Yeah. But we make a living tour, and so that's that's the way it is, and that's great. Yeah. But I really love the studio.
You ever get envious of bands who just do album circuits touring and not just tour all year long?
Yeah, sure, I do.
Yeah.
I do get envious of that, and it's all right. You know,
I'm
it's
like,
one of those things where what we were talking about, you know, like just the fact that I can do this at all for you know, for a living, and that it's incredible. And then when you get to a certain level, you're like, but I'd also rather, you know, that looks good.
Yeah,
that looks better too.
Yeah,
But,
we always want what we don't have in the moment.
Yes. Yeah.
It's fucked up. This is what the only thing about being human I don't like is having that thought in my head.
Yeah.
Everything else is cool,
That's,
you know?
There,
you know?
If we could just get rid of that one, man, we'd all be happier.
Where'd you grow up? What's your story? Tell me you as a kid.
I grew up here in Minnesota, like a smaller town in southern Minnesota called Mankato. And kind of like a musical family. My mother's family is, I remember a lot of piano playing, singing. I mean, they would sing in harmony together, my mom and her sisters, my grandma and stuff like that. So I had a lot of that around the house when I was a kid. And then I got out of high school and attempted to go to college in Duluth, Minnesota, up on Lake Superior, which lasted about a year, and then dropped out and started playing in bands. And that's all I ever wanted to do since really I can remember.
You got a lot of hard rock vibes in your older tunes for some weird reason. I don't know. Were you into punk music or something?
Absolutely. That's where I came from as a teenager. I mean, none of us in our band played acoustic music before our band. And we were all in rock bands and stuff, you know. Ryan, our fiddle player, was the drummer in a metal band. And Sick. Eric, our mandolin player, played in a Black Sabbath cover band in college. And, you know, I love like 90. I was in high school in mid 90s, man. So that was like, you know, old like No Effects and all that stuff was what I kind of came from in a guitar world. And so this, you know, when we started playing, it was just a side project. We were like, nobody in the town we were in was doing anything with banjos or anything like that. None of us really knew how to do it. So we would just kind of learned a few old songs and just to play it. We thought we'd do it once a month or something. It's a way to learn new music and just expand a little bit, something kind of fun. And so it was an interesting. I think we came at it from maybe a little bit of a different perspective than maybe a lot of other string bands start, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I was listening to heavy metal, punk rock, just bands who had crazy crowd experiences, you know, at shows. So like, I rolled into this jam scene with this like, I'm here to kill everyone, you know, just like get out there and fucking go. And then, you know, it just like, what was the way that you made this what your music is now, like a full-time thing? Like, what happened? Like, if you wanted to be in punk bands and heavy bands, and all of a sudden, bam, this is what you do for your life.
All of our other bands just broke up, man. It was just kind of this timing. You know, it was like my band at the time had its last show, and Eric's band, same thing, and we played maybe 2 or 3 shows with this band. Timmy, our bass player, was playing in another band. At the time, that was like, you know, they were playing still, but not as much as they had been before. And so we were all kind of, and this band was in Duluth, our little town was doing, you know, we were bringing in more people already than any of our other bands were anyway.
Right.
And people were enjoying it because I think it was a really unique thing in that time in town. So we were kind of like, well, we could all start new projects on our own, or else we could, you know, my thinking was like, why don't we take the music we would write for other bands and just write it with this band now, you know, instead of trying to be like a bluegrass band, like we were kind of half-assed doing this stuff. We could maybe say, you know, like I got some songs that I was thinking about with electric guitar and drums or whatever, but let's just put them into this instrumentation and see how it works. And we've just kind of been doing that ever since, you know.
Was it hard to trick your brain with the original ideas of these songs being heavier into like when you're first approaching them with this new band? Was it just like a mind fuck? Like, oh fuck, now banjo's playing this fucking ripping line.
Yeah.
You know, like what was that like? Was it easy and came natural?
It felt natural, yeah, it really did.
So and cool.
The more I kind of thought about it, because I just started listening to like old traditional music and string band music and stuff, and I found a lot of really heavy stuff back there, man. Like the original guys these are like rough dudes, came from some really rural areas, and the music was very, to me anyway, it was very, it's basic like in its chord structure.
Yeah.
And in its songwriting, it's simple, but really poetic and honest. And there's a lot of like heartbreak and anger and really also like shredding instrumentation. All that stuff was there. I found it, and it's like I can relate to that stuff. That's cool, and it's a much, I found like a much less polished version of it than I feel like a lot of the stuff maybe today leans a little bit more towards, which I'm a little bit more attracted to, like less polished in music in general. I feel like, I don't know why.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like it just shows the underbelly of who you are, all that that fucking lo-fi punk you were listening to, the fucking lag wagons. Oh, did you ever do the Warped Tour? You ever go to the Warped Tour?
No, and I remember it came. I think it came through Minnesota, probably Minneapolis, when I was I was probably just too young to go.
Yeah,
that was a couple-hour drive away from where I lived, and I don't think I was. If I would have been a couple years older, I'm sure I would have been there.
There's so many parallels to metal music and bluegrass music. It is pretty wild.
Should do a study on that.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the lyrics are kind of dark and heavy, and the progressions are heavy. I mean, I feel like the fans of both really get off on like a crazy guitar solo. You know what I mean? Right.
Like, I watched like Billy Strings play the guitar solo, and it's like, I mean, if that was a flying V with sustain on it, it would be a metal.
Exactly.
Solo. It's like the same thing,
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Did you ever make any records? What was the hardest record you guys made? Not like metal wise, but like just the hardest where you felt like philosophically it wasn't who you are.
Sure. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I can think of maybe two. Our record Palomino, it's ironically came out and it has like our probably our most well-known song on it. But that record, it felt like it was pulling teeth when we started making it. We tried different studios and nothing was working. We recut songs like at different places, which we've never really done outside of that.
Yeah.
It ended up being, but we finally landed at our friend Eric's studio. After all these other things, it ended up being fine, and we were happy with it. But it was a process, like a real pain in the ass to record that record in the beginning. And then the other one I could think of is Wild Animals, which was a couple records ago.
Yeah, that's a good record.
Thank you. Yeah, we went with we're trying a lot of different like sonic exploration with our producer Alan Sparhawk from the band Low, and then his engineer BJ Burton, which is like Bon Iver, engineered some Kanye stuff. It's like really outside of our traditional world. Yeah, that part was really fun. All of that was great, and I enjoyed that. But the part that made it hard was like this death flu went through the studio. I don't think there was a single day where everybody could make it to work.
Oh, that H1N1, that swine flu thing. Dude, we had that shit too, dude.
It was like that, and maybe it was that because it was like the worst vomiting, fever. Somebody was in bed all day, and then when they could make, I think I somehow skipped it. I didn't get it, but when the other guys, they come in, man, it was like they looked like hell.
Do you listen back to those songs and like, oh fuck,
like, everybody's really sick. So sick, and I had a great time making the record, but it was dark in there, So there's that part that I'll always remember as kids. Now it's kind of a funny story for us to think about. Like, wow, man, that was intense. But so those two were pretty hard to do in that way.
With you being the own boss, how hard is it to make decisions about finishing a record? Because you guys run the label, you don't have really outside sources, right? So there's one way of thinking like it's freedom, but like what if you're like in a pickle where like you re-record the songs 3 fucking times like you did on that last record? Like you start judging who you are, and you gotta like, how do you get out of that circle with your head?
That is a trap for sure. And I think for me though, at that point, I think the only thing you could do is give it to somebody you trust and get a second opinion. I think I've made the mistake of not doing that before and really regretted it. And so I think that when you get stuck, like for me, I've done some like solo EPs and stuff where I've like recorded and mixed and I've done everything, and it's like a nightmare sometimes. Finally, I'm just like, I need you to tell me if this is horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't tell anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that's the ace in the hole. It's like we all have somebody. If you're in music, there's a bass player somewhere, or your good buddy, or somebody who, if they will tell you, if honestly, if they like what you're doing or not,
whack or
that's kind of the person you need. Yeah, like
who's your guy?
You don't have to listen to them.
Yeah. Who's your guy?
I've got a couple. My main resource right now is my partner Chloe, and because I know she'll be honest with me.
Yeah.
But I have a good friend. His name is Eric Koskinen, who's a musician up here. And he's actually recorded most of Palomino. And I've worked with him for forever. Different bands, recording, playing music together, and he will never pull a punch. So that's the guy that I go to as well.
What's the difference you see in your band, in your band's genes when you first weren't married and just living on the road versus now that y'all are married?
Yeah.
And what do you see that are different? The difference in how you guys are running your business?
Well, we go to bed earlier now. Say that generally, not all the time.
I feel that.
A lot less likely to wake up on some stranger's floor.
Yeah.
Looking back at that, it's fun to think about those times, though, man. Like that's that was a really adventurous time in my life. Anyway, probably yours too. I imagine, if you're lucky enough to start your touring journey when you have nothing else to pay for, really,
right?
It's just traveling around playing music, and it's just a gas, losing money, man.
Yeah.
So much fun. I wouldn't do it again now, but I'm so happy that I did it. Those are still some of my favorite times of my life.
Yeah.
And they just happened at the right time,
What was the worst situation you ever been in?
We didn't really have too many terrible. I mean, we definitely, like, if anybody else been stuck on the side of the road when it's in a blizzard and all that, like logistically shitty things that happen if you travel long enough. We've all played shows with food poisoning. We've all had our gear stolen. All that stuff is gone on, and that's just like
part of the
catalog.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of works through their. Here's the thing. When you're in your early 20s and you go on tour with a band, you have to have some kind of self-control, or else you're just going to die.
Right.
I mean, everything is there. Everything is free.
Yeah.
This is like in real small. We're playing like shitty little bars, and it's not fancy life. It's just like everybody wants to party all the time, though.
Right.
And we've all known people that haven't made it back from that.
Yeah.
And so I think that to be where we are now is a lot more conscious. We're a lot healthier people.
Mm-hmm.
We are much more organized. We got to a point where we're smart enough to hire other people to run the parts of this that we're not good at, like business and booking and all those things. And so it's a whole different. It feels like a little bit more of a machine now, but it runs a lot smoother than it did back in the day too.
Hold on, you used to book and manage yourself too?
I did, yeah. I booked the band to start.
Dang!
I was just talking about this to somebody else a couple of days ago, where our first West Coast tour, it was me. I mean, this was 2005, so there's barely any internet. It's not like you could like find a venue's website and find their contact information. I was just calling bars. You got bands there? Like bad.
Cold calling.
We ended up in some really shitty spots, because of me. So I would recommend me as a booking agent.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, but it was a great learning experience, but I hated doing that stuff,
Yeah, I think the hardest, I did that too. I booked my band for the first 7 years too. So it was
7 years.
Yeah.
You must have been better at it than me, man. I got fired real fast.
I grew up in LA where like I was working at punk labels. I worked at Drive Through Records. I worked for Warped Tour.
Cool.
And it taught me a couple things about, bullshitting. Like growing up in LA, I learned how to bullshit, but like that, being in the music industry back then where people were getting $1 million contracts. It definitely comes in it comes handy for sure. That's crazy. So do you have a control problem?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it, right? I think it's yes. Yeah, I'll say yes. I have I think if you ask any of the guys in the band, that I don't know if they'd say problem, but they'd definitely say issue. You know, and it's something that I've worked on with them, and in other parts of my life as well. You know, I think that all that comes, all like control issues to me all come from like this illusion of being able to actually control anything, which you know, I don't really believe in anyway. So that's kind of but as far as like my songs go, or like my artistic life, my career goes, I definitely like to be in charge of that. And I but there's plenty of aspects of it that I have no vision in whatsoever. And I'm happy to delegate, you know. So it's been a bit of a learning process for me, to really realize that I'm not good at everything I do, and I mean I know that anyway. But to work with people and be like, okay, here's your strength here, here's my strength over here, and then so I'm not going to try to do your strength, okay? Like that's you do that. And so I think I was probably much worse at it when I was younger.
How long did it take you to learn that trait?
I'm still working on it.
I'll clap to that. Let's go. Let's
go. I've settled into it though. I feel like I think the first step is acceptance, you know, and I don't consider it really a problem for me. It's just like something that I need to be conscious of, to be like, this is, you can't control this part of it, so let it go, or let this other person handle that, and then let it, and just be able to let things pass. And that's become a real good lesson to have.
That's great, man. Yeah, I agree, man. I'm always self micromanaging everyone, and it drives everyone fucking crazy. I'm like, you know, I got to figure out where else to put my energy, because like no one likes you being behind them watching them work. You know?
No, they really don't, man. No. And especially someone who knows what they're doing way better than I do.
I know.
You know?
Did you, you know, you talk about control and stuff, or I talk about asking you about control. Do you ever get into substance abuse?
Yeah, I mean, I've dabbled. Thankfully, never to a very, what I consider anyway, a very dangerous degree. You know, another thing I know about myself is I have a pretty addictive personality.
Yeah, same.
So I was, you know, I definitely messed around when I was younger a lot more, but I ended up maybe lucky in a way. Like I ended up getting some warnings for myself, right? So I got very unhealthy. I had an ulcer. I had just got sick, pretty sick, and so I had to clean up my act a few years ago. And it's been, you know, that like maintaining my health now has become pretty like central focus to me. And so I feel like I was a little bit lucky in that way. But a lot of people don't maybe get that heads up, or they don't listen to it, you know.
Were you on the road when you had an ulcer?
Yeah, and I didn't know it for about a year. But
what?
You know, it was like a year of vomiting and just feeling awful all the time. Finally figured out what was going on, you know.
Hold on. Backtrack. You're vomiting. So that means you were drinking and a lot, and you just didn't know. You didn't know that you're just vomiting because of an ulcer.
In my stomach. I mean, I used to be a pretty unhealthy guy, man, and I think that, I don't know. It's amazing how I've learned, because I never really had anybody telling me to shape up, you know.
Right.
So it's amazing how I've learned that feeling good feels really good, like, and that when I'm not feeling good, I can't really make anything. Yeah. You know, and it was a time then when I wasn't writing, I wasn't creating. When I was down and feeling like shit, I'm just I mean, writing, creativity seems to be the first thing to go. I feel like sometimes that, like, you know, fucked up songwriter gets kind of romanticized or something.
Right.
Like somebody that's drinking a lot or you know, doing a lot of drugs or whatever, and depressed, and that, you know, it's a myth, man.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's productive in that way. At least I don't think so.
Yeah.
Nobody I know has been. You know, we've lost people to that, and so it's kind of a long journey through that stuff, and then you know, it's great to figure it out and find out what works for you. It's pretty simple when I break it down. You know, like, this makes me feel good, this makes me feel bad. Don't do the bad
and
stuff.
when, you know, it's like, we don't know any better because we've been on the road since we were fucking 18 years old.
Yeah,
it's like,
I mean, so
how do you know what healthy feels like?
No, yeah, you never had a good night's sleep.
No, like, what the fuck?
I finally quit smoking cigarettes like a little over a year ago.
Congrats.
And thank you. Yeah, and now, I mean, I love to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, still do. I love them.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, where we are in music is the only industry I know of, in at least in the United States, where everybody still smokes.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think about, like, you go to the office, quit smoking, and you don't see it.
Right.
Ever. But you go with us and you quit. It's like you get off the bus or you show up at a festival and everybody's smoking all. You know,
like, Dave!
Yeah, what a weird world. Yeah.
Welcome, brother.
So I never judge, you know, about how, if other people have a hard time.
Who told you had an
ulcer? I know a lot of people have it. Well, about the 5th doctor I went to. Yeah.
What? No one knew what was wrong with you?
Yeah, I mean, no, and it was finally just had to go in there and take a look, you know.
Oh.
And so that's yeah, it was really frustrating, because that's why it took so long for me to figure it out, because, you know, I was trying. By the time I finally went to the doctor, I was like, I was really sick, and I just couldn't figure. Nothing was making it better. But of course, I wouldn't try, like, maybe just don't drink whiskey.
Yeah.
Try not smoking for a week.
Maybe stop smoking cigarettes at 7 a.m. when you wake up.
But it was exactly. So it was a good wake up call. I had to kind of, like, kick everything off the boat, you know, for a while to get that fixed up, and then it gave me a little bit of a fresh start.
Did you thought you were dying? You thought you had cancer or anything?
No, I didn't think that. I guess it had, you know, that kind of stuff that crossed my mind, but I don't usually go there.
No,
right away.
That's good.
No, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that, you know, I mean, I didn't know, but I know now what it feels like.
What about in 2015? Were you drinking heavily when you broke up with the band?
Yeah. I'd say pretty heavily.
Were you pretty sad then?
Yeah, it was a lot of. I mean, that's the first time I ever sought out mental health help in my life. Was that period of time? Yeah. So, you know, my, like, personal life was kind of all torn to pieces, and then I just felt like nothing was working. And a lot of people go through it, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. And we all, you know, my manager, Christian, I like to credit him with a lot, like, kind of keeping us together in a lot of ways. But he's a real proponent of the sage wisdom of, we work in a really weird place. Like, our lives are fucking weird.
Right.
And they're like, you're gonna need a little tune up once in a while. And it's totally, like, if you start feeling this stuff, you know, let me know. We'll figure out someone to talk to. And it's always been, like, very open, encouraging relationship like that. And I mean, a lot of our guys, several of our members have you know, gone into therapy here and there throughout our career, and it's sometimes it's just, you need it, man.
Yeah, it's like, we got to fight the stigma that, like, if we check our bodies,
absolutely.
If we check our bodies for fucking cancers and getting sick, why can't we check our brain? People are more afraid to take therapy than they are to go to the doctor.
I know, yeah, and I think that's thankfully getting a lot better.
Yeah.
There's some great, like our booking agent, Josh Knight, was one of the people that created
Shout
the
out to
Backline
Josh
program.
Knight. Yeah, our boy. I fucking love Josh. He's a good dude.
Is he your agent too?
No, but I was with Paradigm. I'm with John Bongiorno, but
right.
Josh is the man. He's my buddy. Yeah.
Wonderful man, and dear friend. And what they started with Backline is this great resource.
Yeah.
For people on the road to get help, because I'm sick of hearing about, I'm sick of losing people to that, that are creating music and they're on tour and they're just like, just get lost and leave us, so all of that's very important. I think that's what can give you a long life, but also a long creative life, which is what we all want. We all want to do this for the rest of our lives, and just keeping those lines of communication open, I feel like is really important.
Your brain's a muscle. We forget our brain's a muscle.
Yeah, and we have a lot of the things that you want to, like, a lot of things that scientifically are proven to help people, like steady routines, good night's sleeps, nutritious.
We
food.
have none of that.
We all, in our line of work, these things are just not always there. Right. And part of being successful at it is learning how to get by without that stuff. And you do that for long enough, and you're gonna need some help, and it's okay. And that's, you just gotta, like, it's hard to recognize it, I think, because it gets a little blurry in there sometimes.
How well did you know Jeff Austin?
I played music with, next to that guy for a long time, but personally, not that well.
No.
But definitely, we were in the same scene for a lot of years.
Right.
So, it's like a hang at a festival. We run into each other and hang out.
Yeah.
Somebody I was always very happy to see.
Yeah.
And whose music I watched before I was playing music.
Right.
I saw the Yonder Mountain Swing Band, I think in 2000. First time I saw them was like 2000, 2001, something like that, before Trampled was around.
Yeah.
And it was one of those dudes, man. It was like, that's kind of, a lot of my friendships are like that, like festival friends, like you show up and these bands that we've been on bills with for 15 years or something. It's always great. We hang out. It's great to see him. See you in a couple weeks, or see you next summer, or whatever. That's one of those guys for sure.
Does that make you more or less lonely when you're on the road?
I don't think it makes me lonely. No. But that's my personality. Maybe means geared a little bit geared for that. I think I have my family at home and a couple of real close friends and the band, and then a lot of friends kind of like that, and I love that. I mean, it's like that's a beautiful friendship. It's always, and then it's something to look forward to for me. Like, I love looking at lineups of festivals that we're playing in the summertime or something, and finding friends on there. Like, yes, we get to see those guys again. I think that's a great part of our job.
It's beautiful, and it's also, what fights the stigmas about this, the whole mental health thing, is stories like you talking openly about how you broke up with your band and came back.
Yeah.
And what are the things you learned from your divorce that you've taken with your new relationship?
Yeah. I mean, oh man, so much, I think that well, I don't know. That's kind of a tough question to think about, like, in a short form.
Yeah.
But I will say that the space in between the two was pretty transformational for me, and I feel like through that experience, and then through the band going off the road at the same time,
right?
I figured out a lot about. Hold on a second. I got a landline here this week.
All right, dude. You got a landline still? Hell yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, I think I figured out just a little bit more about what I enjoy in my life, and where I'm willing to compromise, and where I'm what I really want, and taking that kind of more firm knowledge into a new relationship. I feel like this has been a much more responsible place to start a relationship. If that makes sense.
Fuck, I'm gonna clap to that. Let's go.
Maturing, buddy. Let's go. Our guy's maturing.
Oh man, well thanks for being on the show, man. I really appreciate you being honest with me. And
thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's I appreciate the the questions that go to those places. Some people don't.
Yeah,
it's not for everybody, but
and I know
I'm happy.
I appreciate it, man. And I have a feeling we'll be seeing each other more. And let's just stay in touch. And I'll get your email and I'll give you my number. Let's be friends, man. I know you have a lot going on, but I'm here to talk whenever you want to. So. Gotcha, bro.
I love it, man. Good to meet you. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, so you excited for the new record? It's gonna be tight. And Tweedy,
coming soon.
Let's fucking go. Yeah, we got a new record.
Let's go.
You guys on a fall tour or what?
Yeah. We start at the beginning of November out on the East Coast.
Well, perfect. I'll put this out right in November then, so we could get some promo in there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy. All right, bud. Well, have a great day. Right. Thanks for being on the show.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Later, bud.